It feels great, but bittersweet too. I'm going to miss people and events like this. You know, there's such a thrill when we premiere a new film, particularly one on the scale of this one, and I will miss that, definitely. But it's good to be here. I love working with Matthew. He is a terrific filmmaker, has a unique voice, certainly passionate about his craft and about the films that he makes, and he was just a great partner. I hope we were great partners to him. Well, this film is, very, very interesting because it really is the setup for the two films that we've already seen, and there's a lot of heavy lifting to that, along with all the historical references to it. But I think he did a fine job not only setting up the premise of what we know will come, but of portraying the world at that time, and I think it makes for quite an interesting movie.
Yeah, it's been a long wait. Matthew's been very patient, but he's a smart guy and he knows when to put things out and when not to. So, things happen when they're supposed to happen, don't they? Well, it's a very complicated story. So how he fits in is not an easy question to answer. But I basically played Lord Kitchener, who there was a very famous poster in the First World War, "Your country needs you," with an enormous moustache. Makes Poirot's moustache look subtle. So that's who I play, and I get up to all sorts of things and then come to a sticky end. But there you go. Well, doing it, I just like working, actually, darling. And the down light is when something finishes. You think, oh, all right, what's the next one? But it's Matthew Vaughn. I'm not blowing smoke up his backside, but he is an extraordinary guy, actually. He's a kind of one-man machine, and he does exactly what he intends to do and does it really, really well. I saw this about 6 or 8 months ago. It's fantastic, and I can say that absolutely honestly. It's wonderful.
Oh mate, it's like the iconic location really in the UK to premiere your film, so I'm just so thrilled. It's been a long time coming, so it's really exciting to share it in this kind of glamorous way. Can't wait. So Polly is the nanny, the kind of matriarch of the Oxford household. She really is the sort of emotional glue and backbone of the story, and she keeps all of her men in check, the Duke and Conrad, and she really is like the brains behind the operation, really. There's more to her than meets the eye, as we find out as the film goes on, and she's incredibly clever. She's got a kind of genius brain, very calculating, but also she's fun. She's warm. She gives that kind of feminine injection of femininity into this quite male-dominated world as well, and I think she's a very lovable character. So hopefully we'll see more of her in the next one. Oh wow, well I've been a massive fan of Matthew Vaughn for years. I think he's got such a singular voice in the film industry, and yeah, I was just thrilled to work with him. He knows what he wants, he's a visionary director, he's got such a great sense of style and taste, and it was great working with him. He was such an actor's director as well. He let us do what we wanted to do and play. And yeah, we had an amazing cast on this. It really was, everywhere you looked, just the most incredible cast. I remember at one point I had a scene with Alison Steadman, who for me is like one of the reasons I wanted to be an actress, and she has kind of a small part in this, and I was just overwhelmed by the quality of the cast. Headed by Ray Fiennes, of course, who is, a masterful actor. So it was wonderful. I was pinching myself every day, trying to act very cool, but not succeeding. So. So I think people love the Kingsman's films because there's real cheek in them, there's humour, there's wit, there's that kind of British eccentricity and flair, and the characters are really memorable. I guess with this film, obviously it's based 100 years before the original film. So there's obviously it's a period film with real historical events which were pretty hefty and awful. And so this film has more of a serious tone. There's a lot more emotion in this film, which I think sets it apart. You really feel the feelings. But we, establish why the Kingsmen were formed, which is a really satisfying thing to learn if you like the original film. So yeah, it's different but got that same sort of style to it.
Oh, listen, it's a lovely feeling, I'm like, it's been much anticipated with all the delays, and after a hard few years with this pandemic, I think it's a perfect kind of film for everyone to sort of sit and share the experience together. I'm excited, all my family are here, and it'll be nice to finally get it out there and share it with everyone. Yeah, so I play Conrad, and he's the son of the Duke of Oxford, and he's this sort of young idealist who wants to go and join the British military at the start of World War I. So his father holds him back because he's this sort of infamous pacifist that doesn't believe in violence, and has his own set of ideals and morals that my character wants to rebel against, and he tries his best to sort of push back against these sort of set ways, so he has to learn the hard way. I mean, Matthew's a really, he's a bold filmmaker, I think he makes really interesting choices within this genre, and Rafe's one of those actors that I've admired for years, so I feel like incredibly grateful to be like sharing screen with him. It just feels like a privilege, to be able to learn from him and watch him craft this performance. And just the way he treats everyone as well. Like he's retained such a calm and kind sensibility despite his huge profile, and an incredible body of work. He's managed to keep calm and be a nice person, which is not always the case. So the training, I very quickly learnt how difficult it was going to be. I think I said to Matthew at the start of the film, I'll try and do as much as possible, but Matthew's very keen on trying to get everyone in very early. So we did months and months of rehearsals, 6 months with me and the stunt team and the incredible Brad Allen, who's sadly no longer with us, but everyone involved in that department is so highly skilled and so highly trained that you just feel like you're in safe hands, and you can just sort of give up to their expertise, and you don't have to worry, you're in good hands. So fans can expect from the KINGSMAN something sprawling, something fun, with a sort of father-son drama at the centre of it,
It's a relief. It's been 3 years since we shot the movie. I'm thrilled that it's going to be in the cinema. I haven't even seen the film in the cinema. I've never watched it with people. I'm going to be like a pure fan because I can hardly remember the movie. It's been so long. But I think we will have to fight to keep cinema alive, and hopefully this will help cinema stay where it needs to be. Well, the actual story was in Kingsman Secret Service when Harry Hart explained to Eggsy how Kingsman was born and what and why and when. And then I saw a movie called re-saw a movie called The Man Who Would Be King, and I thought, why don't we do The Man Who Would Be Kingsman? And decided to make an epic sort of historical adventure, and it fitted Kingsman, and I wanted to go back to the movies that I loved as a kid and try and make it for a modern audience. Difficult, really difficult, because we couldn't change history, and history wasn't necessarily designed for the structure of a screenplay. But we got there. We just had to take the challenge of historical events and interweave a fun fictional story around some very serious moments. Dream come true. They were all a delight. They're all brilliant actors. They all brought so much more to their characters that was written, and I learned a lot from them, and I hope I get to do another movie with them. They were great. The cast was a dream come true, literally. It was shot with old lenses. It was designed for we literally used the lenses that Lawrence of Arabia was shot on, rebuilt the damn things, kept breaking. But we shot it for a widescreen experience, not for a telephone iPad experience. So when you do fall into the screen and it envelops you, and I hope people, it's worth going to the cinema to see it. It really is. The fans can expect a epic, engaging entertainment.
Well, it feels amazing that we're on a red carpet after such a traumatic year and a half or so of terrible COVID trauma. So to be celebrating this film, which, I mean, Matthew Vaughn, the director, always was passionate that the film had a cinema opening. He's a believer in the cinema, as am I, that the cinema experience should not be lost in our world of streaming. And so it's a buzz to be here, to be honest, with this film. I think it's a great film. The director sent me the script the normal way, you know, what, do you want to do this? I read it, liked it very much. I like the previous KINGSMAN. I think Matthew's a very original. He's an auteur director in a commercial context, which is quite rare. He has a very individual, unique voice, and he's great to work with. I play the Duke of Oxford. I should say it's set in the Edwardian era, early 20th century. I play the Duke, aristocrat, a gentleman, but a pacifist. He's suffered in his life. He's suffered the loss of his wife. He's been through some pretty horrendous war experience, which has left him very anti-war. And he has a son who he's keen to protect from going to war, and the war is coming, the First World War is coming. So it's really about the journey. My journey as the Duke is getting to the point of recognition where sometimes when the forces of evil are so severe and so threatening, you're obliged to take up a weapon to defend the things you care about. They can expect a great KINGSMAN film with lots of high-profile, high-velocity action sequences, a story of a family emotion, a family drama, moving, I think, and a departure, an interesting, I think, an exciting departure set in a historical time with real historical figures.
Finally, you know, after 2-3 years, it's been a long wait, and but oddly, it seems like a great time actually for people to see this film because it's so epic and huge and cinematic and entertaining. You know, you'll laugh, you'll cry. Yeah, it's just that, you know, God knows we all need it as a species. We need a good night out. So hopefully this will supply it. You know. Well, I had to get super fit, which is something I'd never done or even thought I was capable of. So yeah, really fit. I had to learn a lot of stunts, but also I read up a bit about Rasputin, and you know, what a fascinating character. I was kind of intrigued by him before, and you know, having read more about him and learned more about him, he's like one of those enduringly mysterious historical figures who will, I think, continue to enchant us way beyond this film. Well, yeah, we started training, you know, fitness training about 3. I mean, I want to laugh even when the words fitness training come out of my mouth. But we did, you know, really hard work, like proper hard work. And yeah, and then of course learning a whole new skill set in terms of the Cossack dancing and fighting and all that. It was I loved it, you know. I'm a very curious person anyway, and I love learning new things, and it was a great opportunity to do that, and the end result is amazing. Yeah, it's such a thrill for an actor. Usually, you know, when you're just doing a two-hander scene, you know pretty much what it's going to look like, but with an action sequence, it goes through so many hands and so many experts and geniuses that it's always a thrill as an actor to watch yourself doing things that quite patently you're incapable of doing in real life, you know. I think KINGSMAN fans expect to be not just pleased and satisfied. They expect to be surprised, and they will be certainly with this. You can watch it if you've never seen a KINGSMAN film, but if you're a KINGSMAN fan, there's plenty in it to make you chuckle in recognition on various things. But this film, again, it's an evolution. This has a lot more poetry and pathos and humanity in it possibly than the other films. Parts of it are really genuinely deeply affecting, you know.
It's very exciting because it's become such an unusual event. So it would be nice if everyone came out to the cinema like they used to and saw this amazing cinematic sort of roller coaster of a film. which deserves to be seen 100 foot wide and 40 feet high, if possible. The three characters I play all have very distinct personalities, so I just had to remember which one I was doing, but it wasn't that difficult after 4 hours in makeup to know which one I was supposed to be. Depended on the mood I was in. One was sad, one was always in a good mood and complete narcissist, and one was quite sensible, and I can definitely veer between those three things, so I would just hope to be in the appropriate mood for the character I was playing. Fun, a lot of fun. The cast is a very sweet group of people, and we all seem to get on very well, and Matthew is a real force of nature. I didn't know him, and he's a very, very impressive man, and just full of drive and creativity, and which is all on the screen. If you see it, just the energy, that is all him. Amazing. Well, I think they can expect the humour and the madcapness and the brilliance of the first two, but this is also has a lot of darkness in it, because he's taken the Kingsman spirit and put it into a real historical event, which was the First World War, which was obviously a very dark and painful time. So in the same way that Zelig and Forrest Gump, take a character and plop them into history, and you follow it, you see it through their eyes, we're looking at the First World War through the Kingsman fraternity, which is a strange thing. So it goes through different tones. It's original Kingsman spirit, but then it takes you to other places. It's all sorts of different moods come up at different times. It twists and turns and takes you by surprise again and again. Fans can expect to laugh, to be stunned into silence, to be amazed.